Welcome to another episode of Mick and the Fat Man, where we are talking artists, albums, and everything music. Well, welcome everybody to another exciting episode of Mick and the Fat Man Series 4, episode number 16, or is it 17, or is it 15? We kind of keep losing track, but never mind. We'll go with number 16. G'day, Mick. Happy rock and roll to you, sir, and how are you travelling?
Mate, travelling just fine, feeling great, feeling fantastic. On a day like this, I look out the window and look at all those beautifully painted grey clouds.
Beautiful summer's day,
Yeah.
Spring day down here in the beautiful south coast of New South Wales, and we are loving every minute of the salt air wafting up the hill to us and just filling our lungs full of joy.
I've never noticed any wafting going on.
Wafting.
I'm sure the council had put a stop to it if they knew about it.
As I was driving up, I was feeling the car rusting as I drove.
As you would, as you would.
Anyway, let's move on, mate. We've had a bit of feedback over the last few weeks, so I note that we've got one from Pete. You remember Pete? He's from, I can never remember whether he's from Longreach, Charleville, or Mackay. I think he's from all of them.
Or Northern Sydney.
Well,
it's hard to keep track.
It's hard to keep track. I think he's up. He's still up there getting our Qantas 747 sorted for our when we go and visit him, isn't he? In Longreach.
I haven't seen him for a couple of days, so that must be where he is.
I think that's what he was going to do.
Yeah,
I think we've had that discussion with him. We were going to have a bit of a sleepover in the 747.
Well, that'll be good. And then we're going to go from Longreach across to Mackay?
Yeah, across to Mackay, because Mackay's like the highlight of Queensland, isn't it? You know, when Mackay's going off, Queensland's going off.
It's like the Riviera of the Australian East Coast.
It's got some of the finest swamp regions on the east coast, and
who doesn't love a good swamp region?
The thing I love about Mackay is they pulled it far enough away from the water to make it mildly uncomfortable.
It takes skill.
It's those Queenslanders; they're crafty.
Oh, they are. Yeah.
They're crafty buggers.
And I don't know. I mean, it's more southern Queensland or maybe northern Queensland. You know, where they build the houses up on the stilts. It's like the first floor is merely, you know, where you put all the junk before the council clean up.
Yeah.
And the second floor is where the houses are, so they can get a bit of a wind, and so the floods go underneath the house instead of through the house.
Yeah.
All of that. I mean, that's good planning.
Oh yeah, no, they know their stuff.
But I don't know if Mackay's like that. I think Mackay just relies on the swamp to stop any floods.
I think Mackay's just on the lower edge of the cyclone area, so they can get they get themselves a bit of cyclone action up there.
Well, and isn't that good, as we've seen in the US lately?
Oh yeah,
you know, they've got them lined up between now and after November.
The thing is, though, I don't know whether you've noticed, but it's the Democrats that are actually producing the cyclones. Have you heard this?
I think that's so unfair. You know, they shouldn't be producing cyclones just for electoral benefit.
No, I don't think so. But it seems like they're churning them up and flinging. I heard. I mean, Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's a bit of a. I think she's got a PhD in science. I can't remember exactly.
She's got a PhD in idiocy.
She was talking about the Jewish space lasers that can control the weather. So. I don't know whether it's the Democrats or the Jews. I'd say it's probably Jewish Democrats that are actually creating these cyclones and sending them in.
Well, I must say I do have a soft spot for Marjorie, and she's got, but you know, she is a bit of a right winger, and she's got links to the gazpacho.
And who doesn't love a chilled soup? Anyway, we got a letter from Pete. Do you want to just give us a rundown of what Pete's been up to?
Mate, from the looks of this letter, Pete was inspired by our selection of Brothers in Arms as one of the albums you must listen to. Yes, and then backing it up with talking about recording it at Air Studios in Montserrat. So for those who've been recent listeners, you'll know all about this.
Yes.
So Pete says, your mention of Brothers in Arms being the first digital production and also Jeff's megawatt stereo reminded me that the two subjects made a Venn diagram for me. Now, mathematical concepts in a music show, I think it's something new and it's something we should develop. And so thanks Pete. Keep flying those Venn diagrams into us, and I think that's great.
I love a Venn diagram.
Oh, I can't get enough, yeah.
It's just particularly if you got three, and you just look at those overlaps, and you think, what's going to go on in the middle?
Absolutely.
What's going to go on?
I've always thought that. He says, I worked with a guy whose stereo system suggested that he had a preoccupation with the size of his genitals. Big speakers, small
Feet. ...
Yeah. Anyway, he was the first guy to buy a CD player that Pete knew and bought a copy of Brothers in Arms, which CD player, digital recording, just makes sense, doesn't it?
It does.
I still remember him playing that CD vividly. Not the song Money for Nothing itself, but the absolute silences, maybe a little amp hum. And you know all about amp hum now with your old stereo.
Yeah.
That's all it did was hum with the amp. You know,
Look, it wasn't that loud, but it did have a bit of hum to it when you cranked it.
Well,
there was a bit of hum.
That's right, yes.
There was always
not to mention shook the house.
Yeah, always a bit of hum somewhere. Yeah.
In the musical pauses in the intro to the song. No snap and crackle from the turntable or hiss from the cassette. Amazing. When I eventually ripped my LPs to MP3, though, it was comforting to have the old records playing from the iPod, much like they sounded on the family's Pi 2-in-1 or Dad's later Pioneer system.
The Pi. Do you remember that brand, Pi?
Yeah. And what was the other one, that mob that you worked for at one point?
Oh, there was Emerson. But there was
Emerson, yes.
But also HMV, his master's voice. Remember they were around as well?
They were awful.
But the Pi, yes.
Yes. The turntable noise and occasional skip in the resulting Straight in a Gay World MP3 was a feature, not a bug.
Beautiful.
Now, for those who've been listening closely, you'd notice his oblique little reference there to Straight in a Gay World, and I think that gives us a tip for an episode we should do next year. Skyhooks, who were a fantastic band. Until Shirley decided to see exactly how far he could fly his lighter-than-light plane through Tambourine Mountain.
Was he a light plane or a helicopter? I can't remember.
No, it was the ultralights.
Was it an ultralight or a plane?
But ultralights are planes after a fashion.
It was an airborne device that stopped when it hit a mountain.
It was no longer airborne with Shirley in it. So
yeah,
so look, it's good to see that we're producing stuff and talking about stuff that our listeners can relate to.
Yeah, it's great.
I mean, who didn't have either a stereo system that was too big for the house that they lived in, or a Pi or an Emerson 3-in-1? I had one of those.
Yeah, well, we had I think we did have a Pi 3-in-1, or was it? No, it was only a Pi turntable amplifier with some small speakers. And then I went and got the bigger ones. I went and got my penis-sized speakers.
And those Pi speakers, they were an adornment to any living room.
Oh,
and they certainly didn't get in the way of anything.
They had a beautiful veneer, the old Pi product.
Oh, I've forgotten that. Yes, it's that plastic thing that you glued onto the chipboard.
You cannot beat vinyl veneer when it comes to real timber look.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, skip the bloody timber. I mean, you got a timber table. It doesn't even look like proper wood. Not until you get a proper, vinyl veneer do you really get the real warmth of a timber product.
I think so. It's carefully emulated.
That's it. They take a photograph of it and then they make it. It's beautiful. Love it. Anyway, Mick, I think it's time for you to reach across the way there, grab that beautiful pink globe white travel bag with luxurious interior. It is bursting at the seams. Let's see what you got for us. Let's get that unlocked, mate. Let's get that going, and we'll see how we go with getting that unlocked. Get those ones there, and just the ones on the inside there, if you don't mind. Just get those ones as well.
Yeah, that was good. That was good.
Yeah, and I think there's just these two there. Yep.
Look, there's one more, the one over there.
Oh, there it is. Got it.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah.
Thanks, mate.
Beautiful.
Look, inside the bag this week.
Eventually.
Yeah, well, yeah. We've got the album Scary Monsters and Super Creeps from 1980 by David Bowie.
Mr. Bowie.
Yes, which for my money is the last great album that he did.
Well, there's a big call. There's a big call from the Bowie fan.
Yes.
The man who never bought an album he didn't like except all the later Bowie ones, which he didn't mention.
I did mention.
You said you didn't buy it.
I said anything after this album. Well, this for those who are avid listeners, you'll know we're talking about records we regret buying, albums we regret buying.
And your list was nothing.
Well, I did have a certain amount of hubris in my celebration of my album selection, but I did say, and I admitted for the whole world to hear, that I bought every one of Bowie's later albums in the vain hope that he'd actually produce something good.
Yes, never mind.
Anyway.
All right, let's move on.
Yeah, this is...
Knocking on heaven's door. I feel like I'm knocking on heaven's door.
Yes, mate. You know it's time again.
Oh, mate, this list just keeps on growing. We're going to have to branch off to a new podcast, Knocking on Heaven's Door, Mick and the Fat Man.
I was talking to someone about this little segment that we have in the podcast and pointing out that in the Wikipedia listing of dead rock stars, there is the link to the specifically dead hip hop stars. And I went across to the dead hip hop stars and said, have a look at this. And literally there was someone killed like, I don't know, a couple of months back, shot. And then you just go back through all the listings. It's shot, stabbed, shot, violent interaction, shot. Anyway.
Well, it's Darwinism at its best.
Yeah.
It keeps that edge.
That's right. But look, we've got a couple of sad events this time. Brotherhood of Man. Do you remember the Brotherhood of Man?
I'm still saving my kisses.
Save your kisses for me. Well, Martin Lee died at 77, and also this last few months his partner Russell Stone also died at 77. So there's like Club 29. It's Club 77. Or was it Club 27? What was it? I can't remember now.
I think it was 27.
27, I think.
So
yeah.
there we go. We got a 50-year link
to the 27-year-olds who died. So yeah. So Martin Lee and Russell Stone, we won't see them on tour anymore, churning out "Save Your Kisses for Me." Now this is one I wasn't familiar with. The Nellens. They're a gospel band, and praise the Lord, they were saved by God because their plane crashed into a mountain and four of the five members died.
How is that saved by God?
Well, they've gone to God now.
I see, right. They've had their prayers have been answered.
Prayers have been answered.
Take me, Lord.
Take me, Lord, and he did. So that's great. So there's one Nellen left. So I don't know whether we'll hear from the other Nellen again, but we never really heard from the first five Nellens. But anyway, four of them carked it. Very sad. Never fly with your fellow band members. I think that's been shown many times over.
Oh, Lynyrd Skynyrd.
Yes. Skynyrd, Buddy Holly, and all.
Absolutely.
Anyway, Herbie Flowers.
There's a sad one.
Bit of a giant of the music. 86.
Good innings. There you go. The rock and roll lifestyle, travelling, not eating properly, staying up too late and taking as many drugs as you can get your hands on.
Yep.
Keeps you going, keeps you preserved.
Keeps you pickled.
That's from the book of Keith Richards.
That's right.
Verse 29.
So Herbie, Blue Mink, T-Rex, Sky. He was big in Sky and and a massive session muso as well. So
You left out the important one.
What was the other one?
Bowie.
Oh, that's right. He played Bowie as well. Sorry about that. Yeah. But I was going to go on to that. You see.
Oh, I see. Sorry, I've stolen your thunder.
Because I was going to say he contributed to recordings by Elton John, David Bowie, Lou Reed, Roy Harper, David Essex, Al Cooper, Brian Ferry, Harry Nilsson, Cat Stevens, Paul McCartney, George Harrison, Ringo Starr. He's in there with all of them. Great bass player. And, so unfortunately he died. And one I know you're going to be very sad about because you've always loved his work is Tito Jackson, one of the Jackson 5. Oh. He died. That's very sad,
isn't it?
Yeah. And Bing's wife died. Bing Crosby's wife
What'd
died.
she ever record?
Don't think she just bloody sat on the coattails of Bing, I think. But Catherine Bing died.
Oh, poor Kath.
Poor Catherine. And then Kristofferson, 88.
Yeah, that's. I mean, it's no surprise that come 88 that someone falls off the twig. But Kris Kristofferson, what's a surprise is the things he's done in his career.
And as I was saying to you just recently, that he was probably a bigger movie star than he was a music star. He was in all sorts of weird and wonderful movies, and he was what was it? Oh, Blade. Was it Blade? Yeah, that Blade.
Was he?
Yeah. He was the mentor in, was it called The Blade or something like that? One of those.
There is a movie called Blade.
Blade 1, Blade 2, Blade 3. I think it was in all.
Oh, and you can't have a movie these days. If 20 people go to see it, they make a sequel.
But he was a Rhodes Scholar.
Yes, smart boy.
I didn't know that. And he, in 1991, he was on media condemning the support for the Gulf War, and he said that the media was the lapdog media cranks out propaganda that would make a Nazi blush.
Them's fighting words.
They are fighting words. He also performed a benefit concert for Palestinian children, and he said after that he found a considerable lack of work as a result.
It's a conspiracy.
So, married to Rita Coolidge. Bit of a bastard to her, apparently. Wasn't there? A bit of mental abuse and a bit of not nice things. But the pinnacle of his career, of course, was appearing on the Muppet Show. You've hit the top.
Yeah, you've hit the top if you're on the Muppets.
The Muppets or the Simpsons, either one of those. Yeah. You've made the top of the pops.
You know you're in the culture.
You are way up there. And lastly, Mick, do you want to walk us through this one?
I
You're
can't.
too cut up. You're too cut up. I know. Liam Payne from One Direction. It's okay, mate. It's okay. He was in Buenos Aires and he fell off a balcony in a hotel.
I like the way they've written that up. Fell off.
Yeah, look. Apparently, the police said that Payne, 31, fell from the third floor of a Casa Sur hotel in the trendy Palermo neighbourhood of Argentina's capital, resulting in extremely serious injury. So extreme that he actually died from those extremely serious injuries. Died on the spot. The hotel manager rang the police and on the recording of that was heard saying that there's a guest who is overwhelmed with drugs and alcohol. He's destroying the entire room and, well, you need to send someone here, please. So the police were on their way to attend to the man in the room who was destroying it, and the man went and met them at the front door from the balcony.
Well, he was rushing down to meet them and help them with their inquiries.
He rushed down and met them. So, Mick, I know you've seen a lot of concerts, and One Direction is one of them, isn't it?
Mate, it's right up there in the pantheon of artists that I've seen, and I'm sad to admit that I have seen One Direction play live.
You are blessed.
Oh, I am indeed.
Really
now,
blessed.
it was back in the day when they were huge, but well, obviously before they broke up. They were touring Australia to appear as guest artists on the X Factor. You remember that, one of those talent shows that they had?
I do. I love
15 years ago, maybe, something like that.
I love them all. I watched them all.
Yeah.
You know, Australia's got talent. America's got talent. England's got talent.
Yeah. And the judges that they have, they've got someone out of the Spice Girls, and they just look to see if someone's had a one hit, and they're thus a one hit wonder.
Yeah, they got.
They're qualified to be a judge.
Yeah, that's right. And they've got Little Britain, the guy out of Little Britain, David, whatever his name is,
David Williams. Well,
he's on there.
He just hits his button. He says, "Computer says no."
It says no. Anyway, tell us about this concert.
Yeah.
What was your favourite song?
I can't remember. I was just too overwhelmed with this. I was screaming. They were there. Me and all of the other 14-year-olds.
You're having a bit of One Direction mania.
I was. My niece is peripherally involved in the business, in the fashion side of the business, and so she got myself and my special needs son an invite to a special that they were shooting for their appearance on X Factor.
What?
In the entertainment precinct of the Sydney Showground.
What?
Yeah, and we were like 10 yards away from them. We were sitting second row. Yeah, I looked up and there was Liam.
Did anybody sweat on you? Did one of them sweat on you or something like that? Is that
what that was?
Might have been. Well, it wasn't. Oh, it could have been urine. I don't know. But there was bodily fluids falling on top of you, wasn't there?
Well, that spot you can see there, that bit of white flesh, and all the hair's gone white around it. That's always been like that since that time.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Look, they're not my cup of tea, but they certainly got the crowd going, given that the crowd was a bunch of 14-year-old, almost entirely 14-year-old girls.
Yep.
right?
Much like yourself.
Much like myself, yep. Can't get enough of that 14-year-old action. They were very professional in terms of, they were well rehearsed.
Yep.
Yeah, and we all know that their songs were rubbish, but to be able to perform that rubbish very well, and everyone was in time, and when one moved left, they all moved left, and when one said yeah, they all said yeah at the same time. It was great.
Fantastic. Well, mate, I wish I'd have been there, but I wasn't. So you didn't invite me. But anyway.
No. Look, I knew you wouldn't be able to contain yourself.
I wouldn't have been able to, no. Okay, well, never mind. Now, I got some exciting news for you.
Whoa.
Our Trump shares have gone up. So you remember a little while ago we were looking at, and they'd actually gone back down a little bit below. Oh, and I think we'd made 9 cents a share. They were at $12.80 something, I think it was. We'd made 9 cents a share. They're up to $30 now.
What's going on?
Someone has been doing something. Some idiot's been buying them. I don't know who. But anyway, we're about. So I've got 20. So we're like $400 in front.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put it beyond the Blimp support team to have done a little bit of off-market buying.
Yeah.
But as long as we profit out of it, that's all that matters.
It's all that matters. Now, the other thing, I don't know whether you're familiar with the fact that Jumpy Boy's got a bit of crypto happening.
Well, when you told me about this last week, I went out and bought $500 worth of it. And it's now worth $500, I think. It's fantastic.
It'll be going up. Look, I think what would have happened is the Trump, because Don Jr.'s involved, Barron's involved. Barron's like the e-commerce expert or something like that. He's in there.
Is he?
He is. Barron's in.
He's a hidden talent, isn't he?
He is.
Yeah. Keep like the family, straight into the family business.
That's it. So Barron's there. Eric's there. He's something as well. Anyway, I found I think I found a bit of the intro here. I don't know whether we'll get.
The World Liberty Financial Token Sale is now live.
Live.
Crypto is the future. Let's embrace this incredible technology and lead the world in digital economy. Go to worldlibertyfinancial.com.
It's been released. Old banks are out. New crypto's in. I can see you're excited. So we're going to be getting a bit of crypto. Well, you've already got some, so that's handy. I'm going to get a bit. And the other thing he was able to sneak out too. Well, I can't believe he's so vibrant. He's running an election campaign, and in his spare time, he's releasing shit. So he released another basketball boot, which is a freedom which has got like fight on it.
Fantastic.
He's got more trading cards, which we mentioned last time. He's also got a silver coin out you can buy. I think it's $100 for the silver coin.
For $1.14's worth of silver.
About that. But it's been signed. It's got a signature on it. Yeah, I know.
Wow.
And the watch is out. So 2 watches. One's $1,000. It's a beautiful movement in there. You can see it moving. So I've read a couple of reviews on it. People say the value of that watch, because it's been made in China, of course, that's where he gets all his stuff personally produced. It's probably worth at least $200. So you're getting a bargain there. If Trump signed it for $1,000, you're getting a bargain.
Excellent.
So great news there. So we're always happy to see some new stuff coming out under Trumpy Boy. So looking forward to that. Let us move on to 1001 Albums You Must Hear Before You Die. Robert Dimery, editor, 2021, page 542. Dexy's Midnight Runners. Don't Stand Me Down. Produced by Kevin Rowland and Alan Winstanley. Art direction, Peter Barrett. Running time, 46 minutes and 28 seconds. And the chart success was fucking nothing. Not a sausage.
Is that a technical term?
Just not a sausage. Certainly is a technical term. So yeah, they released this album after Turai, and it went down like a lead balloon. So have you had to listen to it, Mick?
I have, mate.
What did you think?
bloody awful.
You're not alone. You're not alone. You're in the majority there, mate.
I thought it reminded me of, you know how when we were young, we used to love Boss Skaggs, in his Silk Degrees down to then left era, when he was playing that.
Yeah.
I don't know how you describe his music.
Soul, sort of.
Soul, vibrant soul.
Yeah.
And then I went and saw him years later when he was on a double bill with Joan Armour Trading.
Yeah.
And he was playing all that smooth jazz.
Yeah.
And I walked out.
Oh, you walked out.
The comparison, I thought of the comparison immediately with this album, and in your comments here, you say, did it not succeed because people thought that "Come On Eileen" was the mark of a good Dexy's Midnight Runner song? Well, maybe, because there's no bloody "Come On Eileen" on this album. That's for sure and certain.
This in the review of this in the book, it says, "Don't Stand Me Down was the most extreme example of Roland's new soul vision, but by the time it was eventually released in September 1985, there were few around to welcome it. Although folklore suggests that critics buried it, they did not, without a single to announce that the album died at the hands of the paying public."
Yeah, it started, Kevin Rowland's, whether it was mental illness or whether he's just a contrary bastard, I don't know, but it started a whole range of fantastic commercial decisions by him that led to him having a career of nothing.
So on this album, the second song is called "This Is What She Likes." This is what she's like, I beg your pardon.
Yeah.
12 minutes. The first 2 minutes is him chatting in the studio, talking shit to someone else, and I don't know who he's talking to. It's sort of saying, "Oh, how you going? Yeah, good." And you have to turn it right up to even hear what they're saying. So if you're just listening at a normal volume, it's just muffled chatting. And he goes, "So where'd you go?" "Oh, I just went down the street." "What'd you do?" "Oh, nothing much." "Did you see anybody down there?" "No, not really." This is what they're saying in this first 2 minutes of this song.
Yeah,
this is a 12-minute song. To be honest, it could be two shorter songs and ditch the first 2 minutes, and they wouldn't be too bad, because it's kind of like it's all over the shop, I think. But there's some good bits in it that go for a minute here, and then there's shit, and then it's just an abysmal song.
But that using conversation as an intro or as an excerpt in the middle of a song, that's not new.
No.
Pink Floyd were doing that on Dark Side of the Moon. Beatles picked it up and they were using it on some of their stuff. And a lot of artists have done this. Bowie, Husker Du.
But you couldn't hear what they're saying.
That's right, yeah.
You can't hear a thing.
He got too cute for his own good here.
And it goes for 2 minutes. So it's just as mumbling. It sounds like just mumbling in the background, 2 minutes of it.
Yeah.
And then you got 10 minutes worth of various, some of it sort of Dexy sort of sound, some of it not. Oh, God almighty.
I think you've summed it up there when you say it's Dexy's sort of sound.
Yeah.
That active soul sound that he had on Touraille, which is the album before with Come On Eileen on it.
Yeah.
That was great. It's a lot of fun, that album, to listen to play. Great for driving.
Yeah.
And you'll recall that we listened to that quite a few times on a couple of our adventures, and it was really interesting. But this one, apparently, some of the things you read about the recording of it, he had a lot of turnover in his bands.
Yeah.
Roland. So, where I say contrary, I think he was, and I think he has a lot of difficulty getting on with other people when they don't fall down and adore his vision. But some of the people who were on this album commented on how tortuous the recording process was.
Right.
And it just took so long, and it was... it sucked all the energy out of it by taking so long and doing it, which bumped up the cost enormously. As again, to use Pink Floyd as an example, you take 6 months to record an album, you're paying a lot of studio time to do that.
Now, I've got to play you one song on this album.
Please do.
Okay, have a listen to this. See if it rings any bells with you.
Let's rock it on the one.
Getting to you at all, perhaps?
It's Kid Rock, isn't it?
Kid Rock doing Warren Zevon. So as blatant as this rip-off is, the first release of the album, he didn't actually credit Zevon at all. And
For those of you who've been living under a rock for the last 4 years, that's Warren Zevon.
well, the last 40 years, I don't know, when did that song come out?
Oh, yes, yeah. 76.
And then they actually actually sold enough to actually re-release the album, and they updated the liner notes to actually credit Waddy Watchell and Warren Zevon in the notes.
Yeah.
So, because he actually was in an interview, I read he was having an interview, and he said he ripped it off. He's a dick.
I mean, rock music is full of influences and some good, some subtle, some blatant, and everyone expects that. But to do it without crediting, that's the problem.
Yeah, that's the problem. So anyway, there's that, and there's I don't know what else. I don't know. Did you want to say anything more about this?
No, just awful. Avoid at all costs. I think there's so many good albums in Robert Dimery's book. I don't know how this got in. Someone must have snuck it in when he wasn't looking.
Yeah, and they sort of point out that when he went on tour in 2003, it was well received.
That song,
this album,
the album,
these songs on this album. I thought,
really.
What are you doing at the fucking concert in the first place in 2003? You know,
a bit hopeless. Maybe you beefed them up live, because they certainly weren't beefed up. They weren't even interesting on the album.
No. There's almost some good songs on there.
That's exactly it. Yeah. There's the makings of some good songs, and it's a pity he didn't follow through on somebody's good instincts.
Yeah. Anyway, I'd say. Well, thank you, Kevin, and we won't be returning to that album in a hurry. Shall we move on, sir?
Oh, please do.
Give me a bit of a scare, mate. Give me some scary monsters.
Scary monsters and super creeps. Super creeks.
Super
That's what you get
creeks.
after a flood in Queensland. Bowie's hit. Here's the controversial. Bowie's last great album. Now, I'm not saying it's his best, although it is one. In my opinion, it is one of his best. But he's got, in his golden period, he's got some fantastic albums. Station to Station is just extremely good, even though it was totally cocaine fueled, and he claimed he didn't even remember making it.
Wow.
Low, which was also a dramatic change from anything that he'd done before, which was mostly poppy, with a bit of an edge, but poppy.
Yeah.
And then he comes up with Low.
Yep.
But then through the 70s, he did some great stuff. He did lots of good music and great albums, and then comes to this one and follows it up with Let's Dance, and then follows that up with Never Let Me Down. We'll come back to those two.
Okay.
But Scary Monsters and Super Creeps, David Bowie had been the artist that defined and ruled the 70s. Yeah, glam rock, David Bowie. The soul type of sound that he developed and made popular, David Bowie.
Gender bending sort of.
Gender bending, absolutely. He made cocaine single-handedly the drug of choice for the rock industry.
Only for the supply, he kept the supply chain up.
That's right, yeah. He made Berlin cool again.
Yeah.
Not the album, the city.
Yeah. Go back to being uncool as far as I'm
Yeah.
concerned.
Well, whatever, yeah. And he used the whole 70s time to create a trilogy of groundbreaking albums with Brian Eno. Yeah, and hasn't Eno been associated with some fantastic artists and some fantastic music?
Sure.
And we can touch on, we do touch on that fairly regularly. Because he is terrific.
He's amazing.
In 79, he divorced his wife, Angie Bowie. He split with Eno. Yeah, it wasn't an acrimonious split, but he's renowned for making abrupt changes. Looking for that elusive new sound that's going to say, hey, this is the best thing ever since sliced bread. His influence was everywhere. Everyone, the whole new romantics and a lot of that glamish post-punk stuff. In fact, even the punk stuff, despite the fact that it was spit, gob on you, many of them were influenced by Bowie.
Spit, gob on you.
Not so much necessarily musically, but his attitude to let's do something unusual. Let's do something completely opposite to what people expect.
Yeah, I think he said of Gary Newman, for example, that Gary Newman not only copied me, but he also copied my influences.
Yeah. Well, Gary Newman is probably the good example of that. And I read a much later article, an interview with Bowie, where he talked about the people that he didn't like. I might come back to that if we've got a bit of time at the end.
Yeah, okay.
But Gary Newman was right at the top of the list.
Yeah, I know.
Absolutely despised him.
And it's sort of it's in this album, the whole
Absolutely.
the new romantic, the hate of the new romantics and all that sort of stuff. Not the hate, it's not hate. Anyway, we'll move on.
Yeah, we'll move on because I don't think he hated them. I think he doted on them like a benign godfather almost, but he didn't want them ripping him off. I'm the dame, I'm the boss, and so on and so on. This album, great cover, great film clips. He really, really went out of his way. He's always had strange, challenging film clips. His film clip for Be My Wife from Low, not really the sort of film clip you would see on Countdown. It was one that got played on the Midnight to Dawn rock music shows. It was him, almost spastic sort of movements on screen, mainly out of focus except for his face, and singing this song, Be My Wife. Very, very weird. I urge you, if you have access to YouTube, and I know you do, Jeffrey, I should have mentioned this before, that you should have had a look at this one.
We should have put the video in the podcast.
I think we can.
I don't know how we do that, put the video actually in.
I'll get the link.
We need to start doing a video pod, a vidcast.
Well, that's so that people can see us.
Yeah, that's not going to be good.
I'm not sure that's a good idea.
You mentioned the cover. That was interesting too because, it's he actually it's got the painting of himself by Edward Bell.
Yes.
But he had the photographer Brian Duffy, which he had used previously. He had used Brian Duffy before. But Brian Duffy was retired and he actually dragged him back out of retirement again and he'd gone into furniture restoration.
As you do.
As you
There's
do.
an obvious link.
That's an obvious link. And he, Brian Duffy would, sort of, I think that sort of says Brian Duffy photographed the 70s. There's an actual documentary of him.
Okay.
And so he did all the photography on there, but he didn't like the cover because he had the photo of Bowie in the clown costume, and then they put the painting in front of the photo, sort of thing, and he didn't like. He thought it was sending up his photo.
Oh, that's sad, isn't it? I regard it as one of his better covers.
I think it's a great cover. It's a great cover.
Quite influential, actually. That style of animated picture allied with a real life photograph. It was used later in a whole lot of movies and some Disney stuff, which is quite impressive that you reverse influence Disney the way that they do things. That picture, it was used in that idea. Most obvious in the film clip for A-ha, Take On Me. Bowie wanted to cement his reputation as the leader, the artistic intelligentsia leader of the 70s into the 80s, which a lot of great musicians from the 70s couldn't do, and many of them lost their way in the 70s. The Stones? Yeah. Dylan, of course, yeah. Dylan. Roxy Music? Their output in the 80s compared to the 70s is it's quite sad, really.
Yeah. And I think probably, there was also a lot of those bands had actually sort of become famous and I think they lost a bit of focus with being productive and having fun.
Yeah.
Kind of. Yeah.
And you'd be unkind to suggest that drugs, particularly Colombian marching powder, might have had any influence on their lack of focus, but
I can't imagine it.
No.
But maybe it did, maybe it didn't.
Yeah, who knows? Look, Bowie was under a lot of competition at the start of the 80s. His influences had caught up with him. The people he influenced had caught up with him, not least Gary Newman, that we've mentioned a couple of times. And Bowie despised Gary Newman. And there's a song on the album called Teenage Wasteland, where he really, really pays into Gary Newman with lyrics like A broken-nosed mogul are you, one of the new wave boys. Same old thing in brand new drag comes sweeping into view. As ugly as a teenage millionaire pretending it's a whiz kid world. Yeah. And he was quoted as saying about Newman again, because obviously that's the question. You go up to the king and you say, what about this new pretender? Well, what Newman did, he did excellently, but in repetition. The same information coming over and over again. Once you've heard one piece, ... So he really didn't like him.
Ooh.
But having said that, and we'll quote a couple of Bowie quotes in this episode, but Bowie's a bit like Lou Reed in that he created his own persona and kept changing his own persona in interviews. So anything you hear about Bowie or from Bowie in an interview, take it with a grain of salt. Yeah, because he made up whatever he was thinking at the time and whatever he wanted to think. So he would rewrite history regularly.
Very interesting.
So information from other people who played with him about what might have happened and how they did and how they got those sounds and the way songs were written and so on. That's all good stuff. But if you've heard something about Bowie from Bowie, make sure it's corroborated from a third party.
Other than Bowie.
Yeah, well, exactly right, yeah. So the album was recorded in New York with Tony Visconti.
Yep.
In many ways, it's a Bowie and Eno album, despite Eno not being involved in it. There's Bowie had adopted Eno's technique of making up your lyrics spontaneously as you go. He'd come in with a few snippets of this, that, and the other, and then just throw them in.
He didn't he used to actually cut words up and sort of draw them out of a hat type thing?
He did, yes, yeah.
Sometimes
that's it's called the cut up method.
Oh, right. I think one of the songs he does that on this album too, because it's just sort of fucking doesn't make any sense.
Absolutely, yeah. And to keep harking back to Ian Gillan of Deep Purple, who said, it doesn't really matter what you say, it's how it sounds.
Yeah, no, he's absolutely right. He's absolutely right. You can, and in fact, even many musos, you can't understand a bloody word they say, and so.
And when you do,
good.
That's disappointing.
Yeah, and the song sounds good though.
Yeah. Tony Visconti, again, so let's get that third-party view. He called this album Bowie's Sgt. Pepper's.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, so for a number of reasons. One is that the variety of sound, the challenging sound that he got on the album, the fact that it was successful, but it didn't compromise his artistic integrity. Oh, God, doesn't that sound precious? Yeah. But Bowie had been looking for... Bowie hadn't made any money in the 70s, so he claimed.
Really?
Yeah, he made some, but he was not like some of the new up-and-comers. He wasn't going into the Scrooge McDuck money bin every day and dragging out fistfuls of dollars. Right? Yeah, even things like Heroes. Sales were good, but not great.
Yeah, right.
No, and so his influence was greater than his commercial appeal.
It's interesting.
Okay, and he really didn't make a lot of money until the album after this one, which was Let's Dance.
Yeah.
Well,
this is the start of his mega commercial success, isn't it?
Correct,
really?
Yeah. And then he traded back on some of the great hits like Heroes. You can't say he didn't milk Heroes for the next 30 years.
Yeah, and licensed to every man and his dog who sang it.
and good luck to him. That's great. Yeah, you should be able to make a dollar out of the things you do, particularly if they're such high quality. Absolutely. But really, there's one of our favourite quotes is, "There's very little nexus between commercial success and quality."
That's exactly right.
Yeah. So
did you say that?
Oh, I knew it. Me or somebody really good like that. Yeah. That's something I've always believed.
Yeah.
Like the Beatles did with Sgt. Pepper's, Bowie and Visconti started out with fragments and used them as the basis for song structures of melody and lyrics. So they recorded stuff in New York at the power station and then took it to London and pieced it all together like a jigsaw.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. And then once they had the structure of a song, then they brought in some of the artists. So there's the next Eno connection. They brought in Robert Fripp.
And isn't that interesting?
Isn't it? Yes.
Because realistically, he kind of brings chaos into it. I feel some of his guitar playing is chaotic and adds that it's not bad, but it's edgy and this sort of chaotic feel to some of the songs.
That's described his playing on this album to a T. It is absolutely wonderful, his playing. He gets in there, and it's certainly not a Steve Hackett or Richie Blackmore solo. Nothing is.
No.
But he punctuates Bowie's lyrics, punctuates the songs. You know, the way he blend that in fashion.
But the first song comes out of the blocks and just bashes you, doesn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. It's and it's a girl screaming in Japanese.
Yes. And she's actually saying some of the lyrics of the song in Japanese.
Yes, yeah.
And I was listening that he was trying to point out that the Japanese she's speaking has a masculine tone to it, not a feminine tone. So she's using masculine punctuation when she's talking rather than feminine.
Excellent.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
You could spend seconds talking about that. That's interesting.
Well, there you go. Masculine versus feminine. There you go. There's a bookmark to put in there. But he did very similar to Neil Young in Rust Never Sleeps. He bookended the album with an opening song, loud, abrasive, Hey, Hey, My, and in this case, the song is It's No Game. Gets to the other end of the album, and it's a lovely, quiet version of the song. No screeching Japanese, not a lot of Fripp's more extreme guitar sounds, same as Neil Young did Rust Never Sleeps at the end of that album. He did Hey, Hey, My, and Young did it first.
Yeah. But interesting, though.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that Bowie's pinched it, but it's a nice idea to be able to do that.
Yep.
They used a lot of spontaneity in the studio, and I think we've talked before about Pete Townsend was invited to come in and play, and because they didn't want to lose the spontaneity of it, they didn't give him a whole lot of pre-written pieces and say, here's the song. Pete, can you put a solo in there that sounds 37 seconds of something nice? He said, what do you want me to do? And they said, play some Pete Townsend guitar. And Pete was not in a good mood that day.
But it's interesting. It's not very. You only hear it right at the very beginning. You don't really notice any other Pete throughout the song. It's only sort of right there at the early bit of it. And I've just got a bit of Pete guitar just to. It's not off this album. It's something different, but it is very Pete-like. But I mean, that gives you that's his guitar sound. That really is, and you can hear that just the beginning, right at the beginning. But it's not very high in the mix or anything like that. But it's there, type of sound.
But that type of sound fits perfectly into the whole 45 minutes or plus of Scary Monsters. That abrasive, aggressive type of guitar, making the lyrics almost just another instrument rather than having the instruments supporting the lyrics.
Yeah, and in fact, in that first song, the guitar is the dominant part of the song, and the lyrics are sort of difficult to hear and understand.
Yeah. Mixed right down. Yeah. Unlike Bowie's album, again, through the 70s, he's churned out all of this fantastic music, but they never took a lot of time. Heroes, the album, took 4 weeks. Yeah.
Okay.
And again, you hark back to someone like Pink Floyd, it was not unheard of them to take 6 months or more for an album.
What did Dark Side of the Moon take? I think it was like 12 months all up.
Something like that, between the recording and the mixing and the experimental, putting all the found sounds and things in there. Heroes took 4 weeks. They managed, it just worked. They captured a break in Bowie's touring schedule. Bowie was quite hard working in terms of where he toured and when he toured. And they the record company allocated the necessary resources, because although they hadn't been huge commercial successes, they hadn't been flops either. His Berlin trilogy, Low, Heroes lodger. They sold enough to make it worthwhile the record company putting some more money in, saying, okay, take a bit longer with this one. And they did. They took something like 9 months.
Oh, shit.
And that's from right at the outset, let's play with a few sounds and let's see what we get, through to having a song with enough structure that you can put Robert Fripp's skronky guitar in there. Skronky, I've seen it described as, and that's an appropriate way to do it.
That'll do.
People who played on the album played with Bowie quite a bit before, so they were all used to him. So which in some cases Bowie's fired bands because they became too safe and became used to him. But I think he managed to get some tension between the art. Okay. Look, Bowie, Fripp. Look, Fripp was ex-King Crimson, and
I've never really listened much to King Crimson.
I've listened to some and I find it incredibly boring, which is really sad because I think Robert Fripp is one of the most exciting guitarists I've ever heard, and yet King Crimson's a little bit like Yes. The artists, the musicians in King Crimson, all at the top of their game, all fabulous artists on other people's records. But then you listen to... And there are exceptions. There are some exceptions, but not everything. But you listen to King Crimson albums, and I've got a few, and they're pretty dull. He joined Bowie on Heroes, and he worked on that gated microphone technique with Tony Visconti. The thing about Fripp is that he's so skronky, unusual. Experimental in the way he plays, but he doesn't overshadow whose album it is. In this case, it's Bowie's album, and it's clearly Bowie's album. With this stuff there to augment, not to show how great Robert Fripp is.
Yep.
Carlos Alomar, who was Bowie's regular guitarist before Fripp, he stayed on rhythm guitar, and he very, very good technique with the rhythm. The dunk 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 dunk. So he was good there. George Murray on bass, and Dennis Davis on drums, and he'd been the drummer since Young Americans, so he brought that funky sort of feel, and he was a black soul funk drummer from New York. So they had what they called within the personnel for this album, they called it the DAM group, Davis, Alomar and Murray, the George Murray, the bass guitarist. So he had a rock solid rhythm section to go with all of the experimental, the sounds, the Japanese screaming, the Robert Fripp, how much torture can you get out of your guitar type of thing. So that worked really well. Tony Visconti is legendary with Bowie. He plays on 14 Bowie albums, and he's produced or engineered 14 Bowie albums from Ziggy through to Black Star.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. And, of course, Pete Townsend, who was just delighted to be there.
I'll tell you one thing I did see, that Robert Fripp's playing on this.
Yeah.
There is a King Crimson song where it's very similar.
Is it?
Yes, and it's called The 21st Century Schizoid Man.
Okay.
And that's got a very similar chaotic style, and then it goes into the more Yes type style.
Yeah, well, that's one of the ones I thought of when I thought he has got some good stuff.
Yeah, but song in particular does sound a little bit like he's playing on this album.
Yeah. Even that song and the whole album that 21st Century Schizoid Man is on, I find that he gets the rest of his players of King Crimson, fabulous players, but God, too much Mandrax. They'd had tedious to say the least. Yeah,
I reckon.
So I didn't like it at all.
No.
The title of the album, of all things, Kellogg's Cornflakes. You know how Kellogg's Cornflakes used to? I don't know if they still do. I haven't bought Kellogg's Cornflakes for many a year, but they used to have little giveaways, a little toy inside the packet. And one time during the 70s, in the US, they had Scary Monsters and Super Villains, which they were giving away in the cornflakes pack. So naturally, everyone's buying cornflakes packs to get which superhero or supervillain they were going to get. And I know you used to collect. You'd have your whole windowsill covered in Kellogg's Cornflakes stuff. Yeah.
I've actually just got the Kellogg's cornflakes now.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's fair enough. Yeah,
Looks good.
It does, and I like it when you leave the window open so the pigeons can fly in, and they don't know whether to take the cornflake or the little plastic
Or the
heroin
scary monster.
Yeah.
That's great.
So Bowie took that idea and changed it from scary monsters and super villains, superheroes, to scary monsters and super creeps.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, and he changed in some ways the lyrical content of some of the songs to fit in with that theme. Right, and you look at some. I'm not going to do a song by song. I never do a breakdown because I know that you go to sleep over there when I start talking about lyrics.
I just doze off and I just start searching the net and start looking at sort of crazy sites and stuff like that.
But it's when you interrupt and I've told you not to do it before. That interrupting, saying, "Look at this! It's a clip of a dog."
Woogie, bow wow, and Nick Farty. I tell you what I did find though.
Yes.
I found a clip from 1999. We've spoken about Jules Holland previously.
Yes.
This is a live clip of Bowie on Jules Holland doing Ashes to Ashes.
Okay.
So we'll have a bit of a listen to that and see how, and we'll just have to leave it on in the background for a little bit. And if you remember, Jules Holland used to actually play it live.
Yes.
So it's not pre-recorded or anything.
This is nice. Yeah.
So it's quite a good sound, isn't it?
It's lovely for TV especially.
Yeah. Because that's the one thing they used to do. Like if you looked at the a lot of the live TV in Australia, they always did a shit mix.
Yeah.
Because they'd always pull the bass down and the drum down so they'd get this nice mid-range so it wouldn't offend you.
Which was TV.
TV.
Yeah.
But Bowie's looking sensational in this as well. He's got his nice green velvet jacket on. We'll put the link in the show notes for you to go and have a look at it.
Look, I wasn't excited about anything in general about anything Bowie did after this album. He kind of lost me as an attentive fan, but he looked so good and so healthy. He gave up cocaine. And you recall his quote to Morrissey when he was talking to Morrissey at one point. He says, "I've taken so many drugs and had so many women that it's a wonder I'm still alive." Well, he gave that up through the 80s and actually became fit. And you see any photos, interviews, clips of him later on, the sound's variable and the songs are variable, but gee, he looked good.
Yeah. No, he looked good. He looked good.
Yeah.
And he got married and they were a lovely couple, weren't they?
Well, she was, yes. If you like that sort of thing.
I know it does.
International models.
I collect them.
That's right.
And the cornflakes.
That's right. Yeah, I get mine out of rice bubbles.
Oh, yeah. Good.
Ashes to Ashes is I'm glad you played that because Ashes to Ashes is a fabulous single and it's so complex. You have a good listen to that and it's a bit like Heroes. The mix underneath it is there's just so much going on.
Indeed.
And what it does is it describes the arc. People say, "Oh, who cares about Major Tom?" It describes his whole arc through the 70s. It describes what's happened to him. Do you remember a guy that's been in such an early song? So he talks, when I started, I had Major Tom in Space Oddity. So that was 10 years ago, guys. My mother said to get things done, you better not mess with Major Tom. And he says, and Ashes to Ashes, Funk to Funky, we know Major Tom's a junkie. So he's talking about himself. Yeah. And it was a very confessional song when you listen to it. And the playing and everything about the song. Fabulous single as well. For those, many people listen to singles. They don't listen to the rest. They don't care about what I think about multiple layers in the mix and all that because it gets played on the radio.
That's right.
And FM wasn't anywhere near as big a thing as it is now. Yeah. So they're listening generally through a radio, which is going to be crap sound, but it works well as just a song that you listen to. If you're a single buying individual, you're going to go and buy the single. You don't get a download, so you don't get the quality of the sound. But as a single, it's just wonderful. A bit like, then you listen to the next one, Fashion.
Very interesting.
What an aggressive song. It's an aggressive song. It's Bowie really paying out on people who religiously do what the fashions are, almost as if they've been told and you must do it.
Yep.
We are the Goon Squad and we're coming to town to enforce you doing exactly what we say you're going to do. And it's just extraordinary. Back a bit.
And they talk and they refer to the style fascists.
Yes, absolutely.
So
yeah.
it's sort of like you're following blindly along because you just should. And you should just change it. You should just follow blindly the fashion industry.
Absolutely. And the whole album's like this. It's you can listen to this album and love it without listening to a single lyric because the sound is so good. But you listen to the lyrics and it gives you another depth, another dimension. So you dive right in. You think, bloody hell, this is probably the most meaningful thing you've ever written, David.
Yeah, because the whole contrariness of it, like, turn to the left. Oh, no, turn to the right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And Ashes to Ashes, the other thing about Ashes to Ashes is the film clip. What an extraordinarily weird film clip. You know, it's Bowie in the Pierrot costume. You know, so he's like that stylized French clown.
Yes.
With the triangular hat with a pom-pom on the top.
Yes.
And he's there and he's marching along with all of these other people who are dressed just as weirdly as he is in different costumes. Yeah, almost an echo of fashion.
And that sort of solarized look of the video.
Yeah.
It's really
Solarized, exactly right. Yeah,
it's really interesting.
It's just wonderful, and yeah, Ashes to Ashes. Yeah, and Bowie's sort of. It's almost like he's adopting, saluting, and mocking the New Romantics all at the same time. Yeah, and that's sort of where he puts his hand up in the air and then bends down and puts his hand to the ground as he's marching along, and everyone's copying what he does.
Yes,
it truly is a film clip. Well, they're like no other.
And I heard him talking about, like, there's multiple layers in this song, and he's also talking about how, you know, they sent Tom into space 10 years ago, and was there any point to him going into space? And well, no, there wasn't really, because here we are 10 years later, and in the song he's sort of still in space, and it was just about technology wank. You know, we got him up there, that's great, isn't it? Yeah. And now we feed him drugs to keep him happy.
Well, exactly.
And I think it's sort of reflecting, once again, reflecting his career. You know, he shot to stardom, he was up there, and what was the reason he was up there? But, you know, we give you drugs to keep you happy while you're up there, and then eventually you might come down, and then eventually he wants to get off the drugs in the song.
Yes, yeah, which is directly fed into by his life. Yeah, it really is quite something else. But some of the other stuff, he makes not unusual. Bowie's made a lot of social comment through his career. You look at Diamond Dogs, which has lots of things about the government or corporations controlling the world, but he's not blunt about it. He's not, corporations controlling the world. You're all sheep. Which a lot of the people complaining about society do these days. He was quite interesting the way he did it, and much of what he did in Diamond Dogs was very similar in content to what he did on this album, but this album takes the sonic content of it and really makes it screechy and edgy.
Yes, that's right. And also, the first song on the album, what's the first song?
It's No Game.
It's No Game. That's sort of a portrayal of this chaotic world and all that sort of stuff. So similar sort of dystopian view of the world as some of the stuff in Diamond Dogs.
Yeah, well, absolutely. And the coins, the coins as part of the soundtrack. Coins are popping out of like a slot machine or something, almost an echo of the coins in Pink Floyd, Money. So he's drawn on things that are earlier in his career, but he's.
Oh, now you saw Glass Spiders too, didn't you?
Yeah, that was pretty awful.
However, the start of this concert of Glass Spiders, I don't know whether they did it out here.
Yeah, they did. The spoken word piece.
Well, there's this screaming solo by Carlos Alomar, and it goes into Up the Hill Backwards. But the solo is absolutely screaming, and it goes on for about 2 or 3 minutes. I saw a version of it in Munich or somewhere like that, and then Bowie comes down from the spider and sings. But they actually do this sort of bizarre version of Up the Hill Backwards before Bowie comes down.
Yep. Yeah.
So, yeah, it's quite. I'll put a link. It's quite good.
Well, thank you for bringing that up, because Carlos Alomar, although we've talked about here, he's on rhythm. He is a cracking guitarist.
Ooh,
he did the guitar work on Station to Station, which, where his playing emulates a train.
Yep. Oh, yeah. That's great, isn't it?
And he really is very, very good. And he's not as beset by ego as many players at this level would be. And the fact that he was able to stand aside and let Robert Fripp throw his skronkiness in there. It is wonderful.
Yes, but do seek out the Glass Spiders tour and listen to that first the intro with basically him standing at the front of the stage doing this amazing solo, which is really good.
Yeah. And I saw that, and the show went downhill from there.
Well, it kicked off well.
Yeah, it did. Started off well, and Bowie's always had a strength in confronting, whether it's visual confronting or a bit of sound confronting, but he just didn't have the songs to go with Glass Spider. I mean, Glass Spider was touring his later albums, Let's Dance and Never Let Me Down. Bloody awful.
Oh, it wasn't bloody awful. Was it
compared to the earlier two tours that I'd seen him do?
Okay.
Bowie got really upset about the way society used to pick on homosexuals. And the song "Scream Like a Baby" was he called it actually state-sponsored violence against homosexuals, and he says he talked once about a dystopian universe where the protagonist is being held in a political prison, and you read the words, and it suggests that. Yeah, and Bowie is never going to come out and say, "Here's a story about somebody who was homosexual and picked on by the state, and he's in a political prison." But he started off with the song with, "Well, they came down hard on the faggots and they came down hard on the street," and it continued on in that vein through the whole song with absolutely edgy guitar all the way through it. And I would say this song got ignored in most of the reviews, and I would suggest that probably the word faggots scared most reviewers.
Yeah. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah. So, but another highlight on the album that gets lost behind fashion and Ashes to Ashes and the cover work and all the other great things that we've talked about is Kingdom Come. It's a Tom Verlaine song.
Right.
Tom Verlaine, Television. Yep. And this really illustrates the distance between his commercial hopes and his creative approach on this particular album. Kingdom Come would have to be close to my favourite song on this album. When the Kingdom Come. Tom Verlaine, critics' darling, but Television in the overall scheme of things, I don't know. I don't know if Marquee Moon sold a lot in the meantime over the years, because I
didn't mind it. I thought.
Oh no, I love it. I love Marquee Moon, but certainly not a big seller at the time it was released, and I don't know if it's anything like Berlin and sold thousands and millions in the meantime. But he was the critics' darling, and the public were yawned. Right. So let's jump. Quite aside from the fact that this wasn't the end of Bowie's creative approach to his career, just maybe the most successful. There's lots of other things that he did, and we'll talk about them some other 60 seconds.
Yeah.
But Bowie, I read an interview with Bowie. Every interview was before his death, naturally enough, and it talked about how he had feuds with some people. Maybe we should have put this into our episode about great rock and roll feuds.
Sure.
Bowie hated and regarded Gary Newman as a rip-off of everything that he fought hard to build and develop.
Yep.
Yeah, well, okay, that's all right. It's a bit of artistic pretension, I think. Because Gary Newman was probably closer to Kraftwerk than Bowie. But anyway, he loved John Lennon, and he'd used John Lennon on a couple of tracks on Young Americans.
Yep.
Right, but he hated's probably a bit of a strong word, but he had no respect for McCartney. He didn't like him at all. And I just wonder, and I've never read anything to suggest this, but I just wonder if his dislike of McCartney or disrespect for McCartney comes from his friendship with Lennon at the time that they were writing things like How Do You Sleep?
And the album, I think, was released only a few weeks before Lennon was shot.
Yep.
And that the Lennon's death affected Bowie quite a lot. because I can't remember the name of the guy who shot Lennon, but he had a list of celebrities he would have shot if he couldn't get to Lennon, and Bowie was on the list.
Wow. Yeah.
So it affected him when he found out, not only when Lennon got shot, but he also that he was actually on the same list as Lennon.
That would actually put you right on edge, wouldn't it?
It would.
Yeah, it wouldn't make you happy.
No.
Elton John. He thought Elton John was overblown, and that he didn't call him a queen, but he treated him as one. He hated Axl Rose.
Did he?
Get in line.
Oh, poor old Axl.
Yeah.
What's he ever done?
Yeah. Apparently it was a fight over a woman.
No.
Erin Everly was Rose's girlfriend at the time, and Bowie made a move.
Did he?
And Axl Rose wasn't happy.
Oh,
So
look
there
out.
you go. And last but not least, Bowie hated Jesus and Mary Chain.
Really?
We've talked about them before, yeah. Turn the volume up to 11 and play some vaguely melodic stuff and see what happens. And Bowie called them like the Velvets without Lou. and I think we're a bit like the Velvets without Lou. That's a good point to finish on.
Yeah, I'd just finish on the fact that Jesus and Mary Chain were like the Velvets without the viola. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, we shall say farewell.
Good night, all.
Well, that's a wrap, and thanks for listening. Don't forget to subscribe, it's free. And if you like this, tell your friends about us. Also, contact us at mickandthefatman@gmail.com. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Thanks very much. See you next time.